Hello, spider crab fans. Welcome. Thank you for joining me. I'm Dr. Elodie Campras from Deakin University, and today I want to introduce you to how to log in a sighting in Spider Crab Watch, which is a new iNaturalist program. I won't talk too much about the program in this video because I want to keep it short, but I have done an introductory video to tell you all about the project and the questions we're trying to answer that relates to our precious spider crabs. Alright, so the platform we're using is called iNaturalist, as I mentioned. So you will need to create an account in iNaturalist, which takes a few minutes. Once you've created an account and you're logged in, you can navigate to the project page, which you have on the screen. So the URL is there at the top. I will post it in the description of the video so it's easy to find. But if you type Spider Crab Watch on iNaturalist, then you'll easily find it as well. When you're logged in and you're on the project page, I would encourage you to join the project. That way you can receive regular updates, and we will post information about the results that are coming up of the project. When you join the project, it also makes it easier to find. When you go back on the project, you'll find the project there and you can easily access it to log in sightings. Okay, so today we're going to cover how to enter a sighting when you've been lucky enough to see spider crabs, whether or not you have photos of them. All right, so let's start with when you have photos. So we'll click on Add Observations, and what pops up there is the fields that we need to fill out to create the sighting. The first thing I'll start with photos. So I'll browse the photos. I'll select those two. You could add more, but you don't want to sort of overload the platform, reach the size limit on this first sighting. Later on, you can go back to it and add more photos if you wish though. Okay, so what did we see? Great spider crabs. So that's the second option down there. Great spider crab. That's the common name that we're using for great spider crab in this project. If you were to remember the Latin name, I'd be very impressed. Leptomystrax gemardi. If you type the Latin name, you'll also get to it. So we select that, and then we will enter the date and time. So on Sunday, I was alerted by the local community that the spider crabs were around at Rye on the Mornington Peninsula, which was all very exciting. So I was actually lucky enough to be in the area, able to jump in and search for them. I actually found them, which was very interesting and very cool. All right, so that was on Sunday at 8 p.m. and you could enter it that way or use the 24-hour format, whichever one you prefer. It's just going to do the same in the background. Next up, we'll enter the location. So that was Rye Pier in Victoria. I'll search that. Google has actually now found the general area. I'll just kind of move the pin to the pier and it's all set to go. Now, if you were out there on a boat, say in the middle of the bay, for example, you couldn't necessarily find the dive site on Google, but you could enter latitude and longitude here. Now, if you're out there in the field and you've got the iNaturalist app on your phone, you can actually create a sighting on the spot and the app retrieves your GPS location. That way you don't have to type. So you can save that. Later on, when you're home and you sort through your photos, you can add those photos to the sighting. All right, next up, I'll discuss the geo-privacy settings. So we've got three different options there. Open means that the location, the exact location, will be visible by everyone, will be displayed on a map as it is on the screen right now. Now, if you're reporting an observation, especially aggregations of spider crabs that are current, and you're worried that you don't want to disclose the location, you have two options. The first one is obscured. If you click on that, when the observation is displayed on a map, it won't show the exact location, but just a random point within a radius around the location. Now, if that's not enough and you want your locations to be hidden completely, you can choose private. When you choose private, the sighting won't be displayed on a map at all. Only the admins of the project will actually have access to the exact location. And the admins are myself and another researcher at Deakin University. So this data won't be made public during aggregations, and they also will only be used for research. So next up, we'll worry about a couple of fields down there. So the ones that have the red asterisks are the mandatory field. So we've got present absence. Obviously, in our case, we have photos, we have seen spider crabs, so it's presence. If you have not seen them, then we'll talk about that in a second video. Number of spider crabs, I reckon I saw about 40 to 50 on that night dive, sort of scattered around. That was really cool. So I'll select the right bracket, and just bear in mind that this is a rough estimate. We don't expect you to count every single crab. That just tells us, oh, it was a small group or a larger group or an actual aggregation. So what did we observe? Well, that was live spider crabs. Later on, as the season progresses and we experience aggregations, we'll actually be looking out for moles. So we'll ask people that when they see moles, they let us know. If you don't know what a molt looks like just yet, that's fine. Stay tuned. We also will tell everybody what to look for. So I'll select live spider crab. Because I was diving, I will indicate the maximum depth of my dive, which was around 9 meters. So I'll select the right bracket. This is the depth in meters. And then I had a dive computer with me that told me that it was a balmy 19 degrees. So I can enter it in there. And I could also enter some note if I wanted to. So, spider crabs to the west of the pier, about halfway down. Something like that if you want to indicate more information. But just double checking everything looks good. We've got the species, we've checked our date and time, our location, we've got our photos there, and all these other fields, and we'll save the observation. So that's pretty straightforward, it takes a few minutes. And this was what to do when you've seen spider crabs and you gathered some images. Now it's going to save this, and in a moment I'll show you what to do when you actually haven't gotten any images. So either you didn't have a camera on you or you didn't have time, but we would still very much like to know if you have seen spider crabs, even if you don't have photos. So that's the sighting. It was saved. I could go back to that little plus arrow and add more photos if I wanted to. Just know that it's an option, and it will sort of save it automatically there for us. So I'll wait for that to finish, and then I'll go back. There it is. I'll go back to the program page. And I'll show you what to do when you don't have photos. The process is actually pretty similar, except you don't upload photos. So let's say we're still interested in great spider crabs, so we'll type the same species. Let's say in the morning, I went to Rye Pier on that Sunday when the spider crabs were seen. And I saw them, but I didn't have my camera, which is very rare. So that was that Sunday. Let's say that was in the morning at 11 a.m. And then we'll keep going. So we have our privacy settings that we can change. I'll change this to obscured, and then I'll go back. So it's presence. I did see spider crabs. I just didn't have a camera, so I didn't have photos. I saw hundreds. It's actually what I think was seen, even maybe thousands on Sunday. Did observe live spider crabs. Was still underwater. Did a shallow dive to about 4.5 meters max depth. So I'll enter the second field, and it was still 19 degrees in the water. So that's all good to go. The only difference with the first one is that we don't have photos. So we'll save that. And I've got my sighting when I've seen spider crabs, but I didn't get any images. So that's it, folks. Easy. So yeah, please get on board. We look forward to seeing your sightings and all your photos when you see spider crabs. It doesn't have to be just here in Port Phillip Bay. It's a focus of ours, but we're interested in data all over Australia. So please get amongst it. Now I'll do a second video to show you what to do when you've been out there exploring and you haven't seen the spider crabs. So please stay tuned. Cheers.